welcome to a special edition of the Bond Room Unlocked, whereby I'll be inviting you to turn the key with me on my 26-year-old collection, our favourite James Bond films, and the toys of Bond.
Hi, my name is Reuben Wakeman and I am a James Bond memorabilia collector, and I run the website toysofbond.co.uk and the social media accounts at Toys of Bond.
It's great to have Reuben from Toys of Bond with us today, and a few other special guests. Now, what I like about the Bond community and its fans is that everyone has their areas of interest. It could be you like collecting memorabilia. Maybe you like visiting the Bond filmic locations. Or you could just love absorbing yourself in Fleming's literature. Whatever your area, it's great to share the love for our super spy, and today's video is what that is all about.
Hello there. My favourite Bond film is Thunderball, and I believe that's one of Sean's best, as he was well into the role as 007 by then. Just had everything, the gadgets, the girls, the famous car. It's just a great film in my opinion.
Now, as you all know, the purpose of this channel is to take the items in this Bond room and relate them to the films that we know and love. But it's always great to see other people's collections and hear how that may inspire them to take things further.
I started collecting James Bond memorabilia around the time of GoldenEye's release in 1995. I was given a gatefold LP of the soundtrack of The Spy Who Loved Me by a family friend, and that was my first collectible, and it kind of grew into a few model cars and a couple of toys and some Ian Fleming paperbacks. But in the intervening 25 plus years, it's grown quite considerably into a pretty large collection of mostly toys, but pretty much anything with James Bond's name and logo on in here somewhere. The Toys of Bond website and social media pages were set up really for two reasons. Firstly, it was just a really easy way of me cataloguing what I had in my collection, so that when I went to toy fairs I could just look on the website and see, oh yeah, I've got that, so I didn't duplicate things. But secondly, and probably more importantly, it was set up as a resource for other collectors, just to see what kind of James Bond memorabilia was out there, things they might not have seen, and just to spend some time browsing through and looking and enjoying James Bond collectibles.
And Reuben, have you taken your love for Bond further?
So aside from collecting James Bond memorabilia, I'm also a graphic designer by trade, and in 2019 I came up with the idea of doing some stylised icon artwork for the 4 films that year that were celebrating their big anniversaries, beginning with On Her Majesty's Secret Service's 50th, and then subsequently Moonraker's 40th, Licence to Kill's 30th, and The World Is Not Enough's 20th. I released these on social media and they got some really positive feedback and people seemed to like them. So throughout the rest of 2020 I set myself the personal goal of doing artwork for each of the remaining EON James Bond films, alongside one for Ian Fleming and 2 for James Bond himself, one celebrating his literary character and one celebrating his film character.
Now, here in the Bond Room Unlocked, I do have some of Reuben's amazing prints, which I will share with you shortly. Now, in deciding which ones to purchase, I thought I'd start with my favourite and work downwards. So now I'm just going to share with you my top favourite Bond films, starting with number 1.
Hello, Vicky. How are you?
I'm very well, Bryan, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. My favorite James Bond movie is On Her Majesty's Secret Service. This is the film where George Lazenby replaced Sean Connery as 007. Bringing in a stellar supporting cast, including Telly Savalas and Diana Rigg, to match with Peter Hunt's direction, created a seemingly flawless masterpiece. His editing experience brought to life some scenes that other directors just could not. Just take a look at some of those punches that Bond throws. Along with some inspiring scenes shot on location in Portugal and Switzerland, Hunt was also determined to deliver a faithful adaptation to the original novel. This served to inspire future directors, including this film's editor, John Glenn, who would take over the Bond director's chair throughout the 1980s, as well as acclaimed director Christopher Nolan. And despite this being George Lazenby's only film in the series, the story that it tells packs a powerful mix of action and romance, which in my opinion has truly stood the test of time.
So Reuben, do you have a favourite piece that you've designed?
So, which is the favourite of the artworks I've done? That's a bit like choosing which one is your favourite child. But for me personally, I think I'd probably say On Her Majesty's Secret Service. It's the first one I did, and I think it kind of encapsulates the film really well into all the details. That being said, I'm really happy with how they all turned out. So it's quite a hard choice, and it's been interesting to see which ones people like the most, and what they see in them that I've kind of hidden little details and bits and pieces. So it's been good seeing how people interpret them.
So I'm going to share with you Reuben's artwork through my 5 top favourite films. Now, each print stems around a circular shape in the middle of each one, and then inside that circle there is a quote. Now in the Majesty's Secret Service one, it is "We have all the time in the world," which is very, very poignant. And if we take a look at, say, the Goldeneye one, "I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur, a relic of the Cold War." So I like how Reuben's picked up on a key one-liner or thought or quote from that particular film. Now let's have a look at the Goldfinger one in a bit more detail. So we have the circular shape, and inside that we have Fort Knox, and branching from that we have the bars of gold intermingled with the laser table with Bond on it. And of course, branching from that, we have one of my favourite scenes, the old golfing scene with Goldfinger and Odd Job, where he throws his hat at the statue. And of course, at the top there, we have the Aston Martin. It's just the detail in these. There's so much to look at and so much to pick up on. Let's have a look at Spectre in From Russia with Love. So we have the Spectre symbol at the top there. And branching from that we have the chessboard, which of course Kronstein, one of the characters in From Russia with Love, loved to play chess. And then branching from that we have the 50 gold sovereigns and the rifle. And of course we've got the attaché case there too. The Goldeneye one is an interesting one. We have in that very much a very Russian flavour to this one, with the Russian symbol at the bottom there, and we have the golden eye and the eye inside it, and we have the satellite dishes that's in there, and we've got the tyre tracks here. I love this bit, the tyre tracks of the Aston Martin and the Ferrari. That is such a brilliant little touch there, so I love it. Brilliant, just so brilliant. The Casino Royale one is all based around pretty much poker. So we have the ace inside there with a broken heart, which of course Bond had his heart broken at the end. We've got Venice in the background. We've got the brilliant chase scene at the front with the scaffolding sort of cranes. Yeah. And then On Her Majesty's Secret Service, all built inside a ring. Of course, Bond got married tragically, And inside there we have the hourglass, which is branching into Piz Gloria, and we have the skis, and they're just brilliant. And if you have a collection, or even if you don't have a big collection, these are worth getting because the detail is just amazing. And on the back of each one as well, you do get Sean Connery as Ian Fleming's James Bond 007, just to finish it off. So yeah, brilliant artwork, and I look forward to getting more.
I wasn't even 10 when I saw For Your Eyes Only at the cinema in 1981, and it was many years later I found out that the bald bloke in the wheelchair was supposed to be Blofeld. I was also too young to really notice that BB was annoying. To me, she was just a cute girl chucked into the film for some reason. The car chase is pretty decent, with a few laughs chucked in for good measure, as it was just really a drive in the country, and Bond even has time for a cheeky nod to the camera. No doubt that was Roger's suggestion. It's probably one of the cruelest death scenes in a Bond film, with Melina's parents being gunned down in front of her. Shocking to see at such a young age back then, and even watching it now, you just hope they might get out of the way in time. As for the cars, one of my favourites is the copper colour Lotus Esprit Turbo. I think I bugged my parents to get a Corgi model at the time. Well, they just managed to get me one 40 years later. When I watch it now, I get transported back to 81, and probably for this reason, it's my favourite. On the way out of the cinema, I had to buy this. Back then, it was only £1. Back to you, Vicky.
Crikey, I wish things were only £1 now. Thanks, Nick. Right, so, Reuben, what's next for you?
Is there more artwork to come from me? Well, first and foremost, there is a new James Bond film around the corner, hopefully, fingers crossed. So my set of 25 films will be completed with No Time to Die. And then after that, well, 2022 does see a rather significant anniversary for James Bond. So there might be something super special in the works for the 60th anniversary, but I'm going to keep a bit quiet about that one. So it's a case of watch and see.
Oh, exciting. We'll look forward to seeing what unfolds. I have one more question for you, Reuben. What's your favourite Bond film?
What's my favourite James Bond film? Well, for me personally, it's From Russia With Love. It's always been right near the top of the list for me. I just love the look and the feel and the storyline. It's got a great cast, great locations. Connery's on top form. It's got a Barry score. I just think it's a top-notch James Bond film. So From Russia With Love is my favourite, most definitely.
Yes, I totally agree, and that's why it's high on my list of rankings. Now, I'd like to thank Reuben Wakeman for taking the time to be with us today and giving us an insight into his website, toysofbond.co.uk. That's toysofbond.co.uk, and his amazing Bond artwork. If you are a Bond fan, these prints are a must for any collection.
Well, that's it from me, and thank you to Vicky for inviting me onto the Bond Room Unlocked. It's been great fun. I hope you've enjoyed looking at some of my memorabilia and also learning about my prints. So thanks. Cheers, guys.
I'd like to also thank all of my other guests for joining me today. If you have liked this video, then please give it an MI6 stamp of approval and click on the notifications below. You can also follow me on Facebook and on Instagram, and also catch me co-hosting on SpyMovieNavigator.com, cracking the code of spy movies with Tom Pizzato and Dan Silvestri. Now I'm going to leave you with some final thoughts from fan Martyn Morgan and his favourite Bond film. So thanks for joining me in the Bond Room Unlocked.
My favourite Bond film is Casino Royale because it's a muscular, down-to-earth adventure. It takes Ian Fleming's literary creation and reimagines him in a morally grey world that is the post-9/11 world of terrorist networks and torture. What I love is that James Bond becomes an edgy, vulnerable and totally courageous individual whose complex inner emotional journey matches that of the sparkling action, mystery and intrigue, where actions have big consequences. There is toughness and tenderness, and in the toughness and tenderness we get the sparky chemistry between Bond and the multi-dimensional Vesper, and also the sinister menacing undertones with Lashif and Mr. White, and not forgetting the subtle nuances between him and Mathis, M and Felix Leiter. This is superhero Bond, but as a flesh and blood human being. And the payoff from all of the brilliance that is Casino Royale is coming this autumn, coming to lift our spirits and to cheer us all up with another 007 adventure, No Time to Die.